Hello and welcome to a new video from the Guao Canine Integral Center. Today we want to pay tribute to all those dogs that rescue people and recover bodies. For that, we have here a great friend of many years, Juanjo Baena. He is a canine administrator, canine therapist, and a search and rescue dog instructor. How's it going, Juanjo? Hello everyone. Hello. Well, I know you have a bit of information on how the dog was able to find Blanca, who unfortunately passed away.
Yes. Well, it's not a search and rescue dog. It's a drug detection dog. So it's true that her handler is a sergeant from the Civil Guard belonging to a canine group, a professional. And the dog is a working dog, a 3-year-old German Shepherd.
So, drug detection dog doesn't necessarily have to find a corpse, right? Because, let me explain, the training for a drug detection dog, search and rescue dog for living people, and a search dog for deceased individuals are completely different. So, how is it possible that using the Civil Guard, as we are using search and rescue dogs, they couldn't find Blanca, yet a drug detection dog could? The training is completely different. So how is it possible that using the Civil Guard, as we are using search and rescue dogs, they couldn't find Blanca, yet a drug detection dog could?
Because it was lucky, quotes, to be working in that area. They were conducting searches in other areas. There were a lot, a huge number of hectares. So where the family thought she might be is where the search was focused. After a few days, this person decided to take that route, that search. Let's say it was lucky, in quotes, to be in that area. If it hadn't been him, it would have been another dog at another time, the next day or the day after. But you do go up against it. In that area, you have to be in the zone. If you're searching from here, let's say in a linear way, okay? It's 50 meters away. The dog isn't going to smell it. Excuse me? 50 kilometers, the dog isn't going to smell it. Okay. Because they have a specific, let's say, quadrant where they search, but they search here, but they search there, but they search more over there.
Of course, it was a bit of luck and a bit of intuition about that area, and after crossing off quadrants that had already been registered and that had not been there, a drug detection dog found Blanca. Handlers bond with their dogs, communicating through looks or gestures. But since a drug marking is not the same as a marking for a search and rescue person, how is it possible for a dog or the handler to know that the dog has found a trail that is clearly not drugs, but something different? Well, this is because the canine handlers spend so much time working with their dogs and create such a special bond that they can read each other, communicate almost with just a look or a gesture. You know when the dog is trying to tell you something and vice versa. There is a very, very strong connection between the handler and the dog. So, even though it's a drug detection dog, the dog was giving signals that it was picking up smells that shouldn't be there, right? He was saying, look, I found a body. He wasn't saying to his handler, there's something here. It shouldn't be here. So what happened?
Well, this, right? It finds, it picks up a scent, a smell that for the dog isn't something usual that it searches for, but it also shouldn't be in that area. So the dog marks at a level, makes signals to its handler, and then the handler releases it and activates it to search. And that's when it locates the probe. Logically, at that moment is when the handler knew how to read their dog perfectly, that something unusual was happening there. The normal thing is to walk along the route they were taking. So there, The dog marks a body marking, which is not the same marking it's used to doing for drug detection since it has been trained for that. And a live dog, indeed, a dog trained for living people, would have done the same. The scent arrives, but it won't mark it the same way as if the person were alive. In this case, the dog was on a leash, and when the handler read the dog's signals as they say, they let go, and the dog naturally went after it. Very well, logically, and that's really how it was found. So, of course, an experienced handler who knows how to read their dog perfectly, as you said, creates such a strong bond that with just one look, the dog can change direction for you. You know exactly what he is thinking and what you are thinking. The dog knows at all times what you want or what you are asking of him. You know exactly what he's thinking and what you're thinking. The dog knows at all times what you want or what you're asking of him. There's no need to talk.
Of course. And how do you train a dog to find a person? It's used like when you take something out of a frying pan, a little cloth. Hey, smell this, follow it, okay?
Are there different types of searches, okay? The most common search is for large areas, okay? What the dog is looking for is a person who has its toy. The toy is its reward. So in this case, when it finds it, it's a chew toy, okay? A ball. In some cases, it uses the chew toy, and that's how it's going to be trained. And for the dog, it's not working. For him, it's playing. Of course, if I find you, I know you're going to give me my toy and we're going to play together.
Here, I want to make a point, Juanjo, sorry, and that is that there are so many people who criticize all those volunteers who go with their dogs. They do it in their free time, and they spend their own money on flights, hotels, and bringing a dog on a plane is not cheap at all. Okay, to go help, for example, recently during Hurricane Dorian, in the earthquakes that happened not long ago in April, and then in others that have occurred, the dogs go there to save lives. Well, dogs, even if they work, I don't know how long a dog can work.
Let's see, a dog works in phases. After 3 or 4 hours, it needs to rest, okay?
3 or 4 hours. There are people who will say, wow, 3 or 4 hours, a dog working, that's exploitation, that's abuse. Not at all, no. The dogs are playing, they're playing. They're playing hide and seek. They're playing to find a person. And when they find that person, they're going to receive a reward. Is that the little kitty? You hear? Now you'll know in English. Okay, so these dogs are not abused dogs. They are the most pampered dogs in the world because they never stop playing constantly with their owners. I mean, I think that if they held a casting and asked all the dogs we have at home, I believe all of them would want to be working dogs. Why? Because all they do is play with their owner, play with their owner, and play with their owner. And there are dogs that never play with their owner in their life. Okay, that's it, I've vented. Good. 2001?
Okay, there's another search, right? The search is a scent by reference, which is the trail.
So, well, a tail is given to them. You have a video on the channel, I'll leave it up here. We'll have a tag on how to work the trail in the PC.
This is at a sports level, but it's something very similar. So, in fact, the sports origin is from work, from intervention. A reference scent is given, and the dog searches and follows the trail of just the things that have been moved, like twigs, stones, anything that has disturbed the grass. Even passing by, it smells completely different than if nothing has passed. Everything gives off a different smell.
I want to make a small note here. You see that I'm cutting off Juanjo. Juanjo is a lifelong friend of mine and he will forgive me. And if he doesn't forgive me, I'll just give him a couple of light taps. So look, what I wanted to tell you is that a dog's sense of smell is equivalent to our sense of sight. I mean, for example, when you get home and you open a plate of stew, what you see is not just a plate of stew. You see chickpeas, carrots, meat, bones, I don't know what else. Whatever you put in there, right? However, When you enter the house, you don't smell all those ingredients you smell cooking here. Well, dogs are just the opposite. Dogs' eyesight isn't designed to focus on small details, but rather movement. A dog's nose can identify each ingredient in a stew instantly. When a dog enters someone's house where a stew is being cooked, it doesn't just say it smells like stew. No, it walks in and says it smells like chickpeas, carrots, a little bit of salt, a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of oil, and there's onion. The dog is already able to distinguish all of that in a fraction of a second. That's how a dog's sense of smell works. So, when a person or a dog is following a trail, as Juan Ho said, is it perfectly capable of distinguishing where it has stepped from where it hasn't? Even if you can't see the trail because where it stepped has disturbed the sand, turned over, little stones that smell different, stepped on a twig, or broken a piece of grass, all of that makes the overall scent completely different.
The problem with tracking dogs is that time is more limited. I mean, if there's rain or hail, that scent is going to disappear and it will be harder to locate, let's say, the trail of the person. After 3 days, it's already a long time to locate that trail. I mean, if there's rain or hail, that scent is going to disappear and it will be harder to locate, let's say, the trail of the person. It's already been 3 days, which is a long time to locate that trail. While the dog, let's say, is sniffing, what it does is move in a zigzag pattern, which is called quartering, to see where it can locate a particle of that person. It's 2009.
And what that creates is a scent cone for you. A scent cone, for those who don't know, is like this. I'm currently emitting a body odor right now, okay? As it moves away from me, the air carrying my scent will start to spread out. Whether it's because of the wind or whatever, it expands and forms a cone of concentration. I mean, the farther away it is, the concentration of the scent is going to be much smaller. So what the dog is actually going to follow is an increase in the concentration of that scent, right?
The moment it finds a particle, it's going to go straight to that cone because, of course, the one that's furthest ahead is going to smell stronger, and if it veers off for any reason, it'll smell a little weaker. I imagine this, the moment it locates a scent, it arrives. Well, it arrives, and it arrives super fast.
You have a female dog, right? Yes, I have Iris. Her name is Iris. She's a search and rescue dog. She's super affectionate. She is trained for finding live people. And we've already explained what that is.
And why 20? That it pulls. 8 years.
8 years. Is she active?
No. She was retired 2 months ago due to a surgery where they had to remove her spleen. And well, as I mentioned to you, that's when I decided it was the end of her working days.
She's doing great. A wonderful life.
I just simply made the decision myself. Between 8 years and still, spleen station.
Well, of course, because working dogs, like search and rescue dogs, for example in this case, have a specific amount of time they can work. Okay, and what determines that time? It determines their health. I mean, the health of a working dog is never put at risk ever. So, at the moment when, for example, imagine this dog, if she had had that surgery, she probably would have continued to be active. But maybe after a little more than a year, she would have had problems, maybe with her back, or arthritis, or any issue that would make it hard for her to move. So she would be unable to, in that case, it would cause pain to have to climb over rubble, over winds. So, first and foremost is the dog's health, not just physically, but also emotionally. Has she been anywhere?
Yes, she has been to several places. Where has she been working, especially in the Cancer Princess? And she was already working.
She has the shot? Very well. That's it. I would show you some videos of her working so you can see how she works. And that's it. I want to thank you, Juanjo, for explaining to us a little about the world of search dogs, because it really doesn't do justice to what they give for us and how they are just mentioned in the news with a sigh, like it's just an anecdote. And it's not just an anecdote. I mean, if there hadn't been rescue dogs. In this case, in the search for Blanca, she probably would have never been found, or it would have taken months or years or whatever. And thanks to that, we unfortunately have the body of Blanca. And in the case of dogs that go to earthquakes and such, finding living people and saving lives. So that's it. If you like the video, you can subscribe here. And if not, you have a video here that you can watch. A hug, thank you very much. See you later, and until next time.